Imagine carrying an invisible stone. It doesn't weigh on your shoulders, but on your thoughts. It doesn't bruise your skin, but it tightens around your chest. It's attachment, subtle, silent, and destructive. We live surrounded by loss, change, goodbyes, and uncertainty. But what truly hurts us isn't what leaves. It's what we refuse to release. The illusion of control. The idea that we can freeze time, hold on to people, preserve moments. And so we suffer over what's gone or what may never come. Epictetus once said, "Attach yourself to nothing that is not under your control." But how do you let go of what feels like part of who you are? How do you release what shaped your story, your bonds, your certainties? The truth is harsh, but liberating. You are not your desires. You are not your possessions. You are not the promises the world made, but never kept. For the Stoics, true freedom isn't about having everything. It's about not being owned by anything. But how do you get there? How do you quiet attachment without silencing the heart? How do you find peace in the chaos of loss? This video is an invitation to walk through the desert of detachment with the eyes of a Stoic, to explore the art of letting go, not as an act of weakness, but as a gesture of profound inner strength. We'll look at Marcus Aurelius facing the death of loved ones, Seneca teaching acceptance of fate with grace, and Epictetus, who owned almost nothing, yet was freer than many kings. If you've ever felt bound to someone, to a dream, to an idea, this is for you. And if you've never learned to let go without breaking inside, maybe now is the time. The journey begins now, and the first step is to look inward. Have you noticed how attachment rarely grows from love, but almost always from fear? Fear of loss, fear of change, fear of being alone, empty, irrelevant. We live as if the world owes us stability. We want people to stay, feelings to last, life to align with our expectations. But reality moves differently. It's fluid, unpredictable, untamable. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." But in practice, we do the opposite. We try to control the external and let our minds become prisoners. Attachment is often a desperate attempt to freeze what is, by nature, fleeting. We cling to relationships that no longer nourish us, to jobs that drain our spirit, to old versions of ourselves we should have already outgrown. Why? Because controlling feels safer than trusting. Trust demands courage. Control only demands anxiety. And here lies the irony. The tighter we hold what we love, the more we suffocate it. It's like trying to hold water with your hands. The harder you grip, the less you keep. Picture a golden cage. Inside it, you lock what you fear losing most: a person, a memory, an ambition. You close the door and breathe in relief. But over time, you realize you haven't just locked it in, you've locked yourself in two. That's how attachment turns love into possession, gratitude into dependency, hope into anguish. The Stoics invite us to reverse the game, to see that freedom begins where false control ends. Epictetus, once enslaved, knew more peace than many free men, because he understood that the real prison isn't outside, it's inside, in the need for life to be other than it is. So what if you stop trying to control everything? What if, instead of resisting, you learn to flow? Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means accepting impermanence and choosing love anyway. Take a modern example. Social media teaches us that everything can be captured: beauty, joy, meaning. We take photos, post quotes, gather likes as if we're gathering proof that a moment existed. But the chase for proof robs us of presence. Trying to control the image steals the soul of the experience. To let go of control isn't to become indifferent. It's to become present, to trade anxiety for attention, possession for presence. So ask yourself, what are you trying to control right now? Who are you afraid to lose? What are you still holding, knowing it's already gone? There may be no easy answers, but these are the doors to what comes next. Because until we learn to let go of the illusion of control, we'll never be ready to let go of what truly matters. There's a lie we learn too early in life, that good things are meant to last forever. Relationships, achievements, life stages, people, we believe they're supposed to stay. But the truth is different. and the Stoics never sugarcoated it. Everything you love is already on its way out. It may sound cruel, but it's just honest. Seneca said, "You were born mortal, and so were your affections." Not to cause pain, but to remind you that love doesn't have to last to be real. Think of a relationship. It begins with lightness, laughter, discovery. But over time, fear creeps in, and without noticing, we begin to measure love by how long it lasts, not by how deeply it is felt. Attachment is not love. Love frees, attachment binds. Love nurtures, attachment controls. Love accepts the end, attachment denies it. How many times have you held on to someone who already wanted to leave? Kept an idea alive just because you didn't know how to live without it? Confused fear of being alone with the feeling of being in love? The problem isn't love, it's forever. That's the trap. Society sells us the happy ending as a fixed destination. But Stoicism teaches us the real happy ending is to accept the end with serenity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Love whatever fate brings you, and be prepared to let it go." That's the essence of mature detachment. Love that knows when to release. Today, many live trapped in idealized versions of the past. Ex-lovers who've moved on, friends who've changed, chapters of life that won't return. But holding on to what is already left isn't romantic, it's stagnation. Think of a home filled with old furniture. Some pieces are beautiful, others just take up space. And yet, we hesitate to let go because they represent something, memories, ties, identities. But there comes a time when the soul, too, needs decluttering. To let go with gratitude, to love without owning, to live without demanding guarantees. That doesn't mean erasing the past. It means honoring it and then releasing it. The Stoics didn't preach coldness, they preached maturity. They knew that true love blooms even when winter is coming. It gives itself fully, knowing everything beautiful is also fleeting. And maybe that's what makes it so precious. We cling because we forget impermanence. But the more aware we are of transience, the more alive we become in presence. If you knew today was the last time you'd see someone, how would you act? If you realize this moment is one of a kind, how would you feel it? Letting go isn't forgetting. It's remembering with lightness, loving with awareness, living with courage. And only when we learn to release forever do we finally hold what truly matters. Now, if forever makes us cling to the past, attachment has another cruel talent. It sabotages the present. In the desperation to hold on to what once was, or to guarantee what's yet to come, we miss what's actually here, the now. Have you ever stood in a beautiful place, yet couldn't enjoy it because your mind was elsewhere? Sat beside someone you love, but felt miles away? Had everything and still felt empty? That's the symptom of a quiet illness, a mind drowning in what should have been, what was, or what might be. Seneca warned, life is divided into 3 times. What was, what is, and what will be. Of these, the present is short, the future uncertain, and the past unchangeable. Yet we spend most of our days absent from life. Not because we want to, but because we're carrying too much. Attachment is an invisible weight. You can't see in the mirror, but your body feels it. It drags your shoulders down, dulls your eyes, and turns your days gray and slow. We wear memories like armor, carry unfulfilled dreams like emotional debt, expectations like backpacks we never take off. And when we finally have a moment of peace, it feels uncomfortable, as if we've become addicted to the weight. The Stoic who is free is also light, not because he's indifferent, but because he's chosen not to be chained. He understands that now is all there is, and any thought that steals this moment is a thief of life. We live in a time where the future is sold to us as urgent. You have to get there, achieved by post-proof. But what if getting there is an illusion? What if there is just another place where attachment waits to trap you again? Stoic lightness is not apathy, it's wisdom. It's the ability to look at the present and say, this is enough. Here's a simple example. You're sitting in a cafe. The sky is beautiful. Your body is present, but your mind is in an old regret. A message that never came. A what if that never will. It's as if the present is shouting, but you've got attachment in your ears like noise-canceling headphones. Letting go is removing those headphones. It's hearing the now, tasting the coffee, seeing the sky, unfiltered, being whole, even for a second. Epictetus spoke of inner freedom as a state of presence. He said, as long as you're worried about what you can't control, you'll always be a slave. And what can't you control? Almost everything. Attachment is the attempt to own what cannot be owned. Time, others, the future. And unless you release control, you'll always be absent from the only place where freedom exists. Here. And maybe, just maybe, that's where Stoicism becomes a map. Not for a perfect, eternal present, but for one that is real, fleeting, and deeply alive. Because when we stop resisting impermanence, something strange happens. We start living for real. Once we begin to truly live, as we explored before, we discover something unsettling. Life doesn't check with you before changing its course. It just changes. You can be present, aware, peaceful, and still, life will throw you a curveball. Loss, rejection, failure. And this is where many fall back. After letting go of the past and the illusion of control, they cling to a final hope. That at least now, things will go right. But life isn't meant to obey. It's meant to be embraced. This is where the Stoics offer one of their most powerful and most challenging principles. Amor Fati, love of fate, to love what comes, even when it hurts. Marcus Aurelius wrote, what happens to you is woven into the fabric of your existence from the beginning. There are no accidents. There is only the path that shapes you, even when it cuts. True freedom, say the Stoics, isn't just about releasing the past or future. It's about embracing what's happening now, even when you don't understand it. Picture a river. You're in it. You can fight the current and exhaust yourself, cling to a rock and injure yourself. Or you can learn to float, to trust the water, even when you can't see the shore. This isn't passive resignation. It's active trust, a rational faith that what happens, no matter how painful, can be used to grow, to learn, to fortify your soul. How many times, looking back, have you seen that something bad prepared you for something better? How many losses revealed truth? How many failures set you on the right path? That's the wisdom of Amor Fati. Not to enjoy what hurts, but to find meaning in the chaos. To turn pain into a teacher, not an enemy. Modern life trains us to resist what doesn't fit the plan. We fear uncertainty, panic at failure, and recoil at pain. But the more we flee from pain, the more we depend on a fantasy that everything must go right. The Stoic doesn't expect life to please him. He expects it to shape him. And to allow that, to truly let life shape you, takes courage, a steady soul, and lightness. The same lightness we saw before, when we learn to release the past and the illusion of control. Everything is connected. The past you won't let go, the present you can't live, the future you resist, all tangled in the same thread of suffering. And the only way out is to stop fighting the nature of life. Because in the end, it's not what happens that transforms you. It's how you choose to respond. And to choose to love fate doesn't mean giving up on pain. It means allowing pain to forge you into someone wiser, deeper, more whole. But what about when fate rips the ground from under you? That's what we'll face now. There comes a moment when you no longer have a choice. You try to hold on, try to fix it, try to resist. But life, in its cold precision, forces your hand. Not out of cruelty, but because holding on now hurts more than letting go. This is the rite of release. That quiet, absolute instant when something breaks. And you know, nothing will ever be the same again. It could be the end of a relationship, the death of someone you love, the collapse of a dream you thought essential. You feel the ground vanish, and in its place, a silence. The Stoics never denied that silence. They simply refused to be defined by it. Epictetus said, don't seek for things to happen as you wish, but wish for them to happen as they do, and your life will flow smoothly. Easier said than done. But in that difficulty is the core of Stoic strength. Because letting go when you have no choice is one thing. Letting go by wisdom is another. The first is a forced surrender. The second is an act of will, a gesture of power. Most people crawl through this moment. They release what they love like losing a limb. But the Stoics invite us to release differently. To let go like someone freeing a dove, watching it rise, chest aching, but heart lighter. It is a right, and like every right, it carries pain, but also rebirth. To detach is not to vanish. It's to rediscover yourself. To understand that who you are is not what you've lost, but what you're still able to carry after the loss. How many times have we heard stories of people who, after deep heartbreak, bloomed, who found a truer version of themselves after breaking? That's not coincidence. It's the alchemy of detachment. Seneca once wrote, "Adversity is like a fire. It consumes the weak, but forges the strong." And in the rite of release, you must choose. Will you be consumed or forged? There's no easy answer, but there is a clear way forward. Stop being a prisoner of what was, and begin to walk, even if your heart is stitched together. Freedom doesn't come from the absence of pain. It comes from the decision not to be defined by it. And maybe that's why Stoicism never asked for perfection. It only asked for presence and courage. Courage to face loss head on, to not hide behind distraction or bitterness. Courage to accept that you have no control, but you still have a choice. The choice to grow, to continue, to turn pain into wisdom. And that's how it all connects. From the first step, letting go of control, to this final one, where the breaking isn't the end, but the beginning of a new path. A lighter one, clearer, and above all freer. But now what? Now that everything's been released, what's left? That question leads us to the end. In the end, it's not about winning. It's not about being right, or walking away unscathed. It's about staying whole, even when the world around you is falling apart. True freedom doesn't arrive as a shout of victory. It comes quietly, like a sigh of relief. After finally letting go of what you clung to for far too long. Letting go isn't the end of the story. It's the start of another. One where you're no longer defined by what you've lost, but by what you had the courage to release. The Stoics never sought to control the world. They sought mastery of self. And maybe that's the hardest and most powerful art of all. The art of letting go without losing yourself. Because you will lose. You will hurt. You will stumble. But none of that has to break you. You can be like the tree that loses its leaves and still stands. Like the river that changes course, but still flows. You can be free. Free from the need to keep what is already left. Free from the lie that everything must last. Free from the pain that lingers. Only because you never learned how to say goodbye. And that freedom is yours. It doesn't depend on anyone. It doesn't ask for permission. It begins the moment you stop fighting impermanence and start walking with it. So if something in this video stirred something in you, if some part of your heart whispered, it's time to let go, maybe this is your moment. And if it is, don't walk alone. Here, on this channel, you'll find more than just videos. You'll find a path, reflections, shared silences. Subscribe and turn on notifications to continue this Stoic journey with us. Leave your story in the comments. What are you learning to let go of? What has life taught you about attachment? And if this video truly moved you, like it, not as a reflex, but as a quiet step toward your own freedom. Because in the end, what connects us here isn't the absence of pain. It's the courage to face it, fully awake. That is the Stoic path, not the path of those who escape life, but of those who meet it head on, with steady soul and open hands.